These fake Mondays have ruined my computer because the monitors, Windows doesn't know. For people who aren't privy, whatever. Windows designs a primary monitor and like a secondary monitor. It's like 1 and 2. I have it set up certain ways so that I can see the screen and do this fancy switching as 1 and 2. Every once in a while, when the computer flips a coin, it says, you know what, we're going to switch that. And today is one of those days, and so I can't actually see like this happening. So if that just made you dizzy, that's your own problem because I can't see it. Happy Fake Monday.
Yep.
Anyways, Paul, so Microsoft dumped some news on Monday. Typically it's Friday afternoon before holiday news dump. They dumped some yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday. They are, and I quote, giving up, I'm not quoting that, but Microsoft is giving up on running SQL servers in a Windows container. And the reason why I quote, because of ecosystem challenges. What do you think?
So what that tells me is that there's a problem with Windows Server that makes it better to run this thing on Linux.
Yeah. Well, it's SQL Server, not Windows Server.
But SQL Server on Linux is still supported.
Yeah. So they actually in their post recommend like, yeah, just run it on Linux because it's better. And that's where everyone's doing it.
What an about face that is, huh?
Yes.
So I don't know if
Hold on, little more background on this, just because it'll help. They initially launched this SQL Server in Windows Container as a beta in 2017, and it never materialized. I shouldn't say didn't materialize. Never made its way to general availability.
Remember, it was going to be a subset of SQL Server, right? It wasn't going to handle all the workloads, especially at first, and blah blah blah, whatever. But
ecosystem challenges.
It's if you go back in time, a long time, it's 20 plus years now. Microsoft used to license SQL Server from Sybase. They rewrote it, I think, in version 7. It was going to be used as the basis for the file system in Longhorn.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was going to replace the Jet database engine in Exchange. This was going to be this is the way this world was going. And then none of it ever, well, WinFS appeared briefly. That wasn't really SQL based. It doesn't matter. Anyway, didn't happen. And how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Now it's just a server application that runs on Linux. Just run it on Linux is the advice. I mean, I can't even reconcile these two stories. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think the only underlying factor is just run it on whatever, as long as it's on Azure. Like, that's the...
Yes, and by the way, that's the same message they give you on Windows. We don't care how you make the app. You can use Project Reunion or whatever we're calling that now. You can use UWP. You can use web stuff. You can whatever. Nobody cares anymore. As long as you are a Microsoft 365 subscriber, you can run whatever the hell you want, wherever you want. Nobody cares.
You know what they should...
Oh, and by the way, we have a new version of Windows 11 we want you to be really excited about for some reason. I know. It's marketing hits reality sometimes. It gets messy.
You know what the cover image for Project Reunion should have been? The Friends reboot that they're doing? That should have been
the Friends reboot?
They're doing like a one-off episode. They paid them a whole bunch of money. I think it's on HBO.
Right. Yeah, they didn't make enough money making that stupid show. Yeah, anyway.
that should have been
the Friends reunion.
Yeah.
Bring back the guys from that Windows 95 commercial with like Jennifer Aniston and whatever that guy's name is. Matthew Perry, look at me pulling a name out of the 90s.
Well, see, I think they need to redo that whole series, like that whole video, but use Jim and Pam from The Office. I think that would be...
Oh, boy. See, I was thinking the image for this would have been like that pop-up Jack-in-the-Box thing that scares the crap out of little kids, A
demonic little toy.
Exactly. You're right. The creature from, what was that movie? Poltergeist, that was in the chair or whatever, and then it was under the bed.
Other things happening, actually this just happened, is there's a new Nintendo Switch OLED. So as the name suggests, they're updating it with an OLED display. It has 64 gigs of internal storage. The dock now supports, I believe, an Ethernet port. And
Look at those guys moving to the 20th century.
Apparently
they're going to sell these things,
Apparently my daughter just got out of bed and decided that now is the appropriate time to start screaming.
She's like the boulder from the Indiana Jones movie chasing someone around the house.
I think she's yelling at friends across the street.
I'm always amazed by the capacity of small children and animals to make noise that is sort with their size,
Yeah, oh yeah.
down the stairs. And what it sounds like is you dropped a bowling ball down the stairs,
Yes. Like
They can't weigh even, I don't know, 10 pounds. How much does a cat weigh? I don't know. 10 pounds? Something like, not even 5.
I was gonna say, if it weighs 10 pounds, it is 2x my dog.
Whatever it is. I don't know. 2 pounds? I don't know. I don't know what things are. I don't know if things cost. I don't know how much they weigh. Why would I know that?
How much does a cat weigh? So
It's just, I don't know.
I don't know. We are now in. I would say last week, maybe end of last month was like high tide.
Or
Yeah, now we're more into like low tide.
talking about for like excitement and amount of stuff to write about.
Yeah, although we're gonna get they promise eventual build of Office Insider that's gonna have the UI they said last week, Paul, but they lied. They were wrong.
Tech people. It's changed. They have this really bad habit of editing previous blog posts.
Yeah, that one's really annoying.
That a lot. The Insider program does this all the time. That's why, there's no perfect system. I don't pretend that I have the answer. But for example, I don't have a way of alerting users to this effect, but if I make a major change to an article or something changes and I have to put a little update in there, I'll put the word update in the headline, right, to indicate that something's changed. Now, that doesn't trigger an RSS change or anything like that. We're not, perfect, but we also don't have the resources of Microsoft. Like I feel like this company could figure out. I'll get stuck on that term, a way to work around that issue. And I don't know. I just find it annoying. So days after they made the change, I discovered they made the change because I actually went back to the article just on my own because I thought it's weird. I'm not seeing this anywhere. Mm-hmm. I must not follow the instructions correctly. There are no instructions. You just join the beta thing, you get it. Never happened. But, then now they're like, hey, remember we told you a specific build, and they used to have that build number in the post, is going to trigger this change? Well, we released that build, and it didn't change anything. Sorry about that. We'll be adding it next week sometime. Thanks. Yeah. No, I mean, there are people like me, and I think people have been sitting there, refresh, check for a new build, and it's not coming. Yeah, we spent a week doing this,
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. It's a fake Monday. My computer is half working. As actually, what was running through my head was So I'm like on the fence of should I put my desktop upstairs on Windows 11. Now, technically, we don't know if it supports it, but Microsoft said, hey, we're going to base it off the telemetry. So I'm thinking like, well, if my computer's in that box of like telemetry, maybe it'll like
help
push them.
But 7th computer, is that what it is?
But then if I don't put it in there and then I do put it in there and they don't support it, then I'm in this really weird what do I do now state. I don't know.
Well, Brad, you could make a system image backup and then bring it back later if you have to. But I don't see them not supporting 7th gen.
It's going to be weird if they don't, I think.
It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, it will. I think brutal is the better word.
Just bring it right back up again, This will be the controversy. Oh, Microsoft just wants money. They just, the thing is, I feel like they could have marketed this in a way that makes sense. They could have said, look, these two things are going forward, 10 and 11. All the app changes are going to appear on the Windows 10 side. All the developer stuff is going to be on both.
Mm-hmm.
So new apps, blah, 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 whatever. But here are the very real reasons we're making this line in the sand, and they're mostly about security and privacy.
Yeah, but that's not what they did.
No, we don't live in that world. No, we live in a world where there was a pre-briefing where they told us nothing about any of these problems and then unleashed this thing on the world, and we all miscommunicated what was happening, and as people started the world we live in is terrible, Brad. I mean, it's given us these careers.
Downfall of society will be Windows 11 minimum specs.
Wow.
Don't mark my words on that.